welcome to another episode of Do the Damn Thing, HipCat Society's weekly show where we talk to entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, really anyone out there doing it, people who have done the damn thing so they can share their wisdom and knowledge with us. And today I am very excited to speak to our guest, something a little bit different this week, which I hope our audience will enjoy. We are speaking with Janelle Alvarado. Hi, Janelle.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm doing great, Laura. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, I found Janelle on Instagram, as I'm sure many people do, and I was just captivated by your beautiful profile, your feed, and then all of the great messaging and the content that you put out there. So I said, I got to meet this girl. I got to find out what she does and talk to her, find out how she does the damn thing. So let's start by telling people what it is that you do.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Janelle Alvarado. So thank you so much for the introduction. I run an online community called Retail Boss. And what we do is we provide educational resources to startups in the retail field. So that could be anybody who is in fashion, beauty, food and beverage, really anything related to selling a product to a consumer successfully. So we really help bridge that gap in teaching people how to actually retail the right way for they can actually make sales online.
So is this like for companies or is it like me? Like, hey, I want to sell my t-shirts, or is it more like I'm gonna wholesale someone else's t-shirts and sell them at a marked up price? Like, I know nothing about it, so tell me.
Yeah, so great question. Really, it's for anybody within the retail space. So just like you said, there's so many different distribution channels within retail.
Right.
Just like you had mentioned, there's direct to consumer, right? Which is, you have your own product, a lot of private label. And then there's also boutiques who typically do the wholesale route. So they're looking for wholesalers that they can buy product already and sell to their boutique. And then we also have fashion designers who are trying to do more collections who want to get into retailers. So it really is for anybody figuring out how to actually fit within the space and also select where they should be in that space. Because just like you said, a lot of people want to start maybe a t-shirt line, but it may be a better idea for them to actually go the wholesale route, or it may even be even better for them to do that service for other people. So we help them navigate and see all the different options available. So it definitely is for people just like you, entrepreneurs, also people who have small businesses and maybe want to add a retail component to their business.
Wow, it's so interesting because this is a totally new space for me. And as I do the show week after week and I talk to all these different entrepreneurs, it blows my mind how much I don't know. That like I never would have known there were so many different like layers and avenues and paths to retail. So I guess you really got to get into it to find out what you know and what you don't. But I want to talk about you for a little bit. And by the way, we are live, so if anyone out there is watching has questions for Janelle or questions about retail or Retail Boss, her company, feel free to throw those in the chat, and we'll get to them in just a little bit. But let's talk about you. Clearly, you're a fashionista. I can tell that just by going through your feed and looking at you here. But how did you get started? How did you become an expert? How did you become the CEO of Retail Boss?
Yeah, great questions. Well, it started humble beginnings, of course. I actually am born and raised here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So I'm Canadian. A lot of people think I'm from Toronto when I travel because I feel like most people in the States only know about Toronto or Quebec. So, but here it's more of a smaller city. It is more oil based. So most people here are in trade. So either they're going into oil, they're becoming nurses, or they're doing more of the trade occupations. So here is not really a fashion hub or retailing hub, so to speak. So what actually got me into it was just always looking online. And that's why I always have a global perspective because I didn't get any of my fashion influence from my city. I really like European fashion, and I actually was obsessed with men's fashion the most, so men's tailoring. So I really like blazers and professional wear. And by seeing all of that content online, that's what really pushed me into the industry. And I ended up going to fashion school right after high school. And then I later pivoted from doing fashion merchandising to actually doing a bachelor's of commerce degree in marketing, but still focusing on the retailing sector. And then within that, I also took courses in real estate, for I could get the whole picture because retail is very much tied to real estate.
Really?
Lots of investment, exactly. A lot of investment in real estate has to do with retailing. So if you've seen that movie called The Founder, it's on Netflix. It's about McDonald's.
Okay.
So, McDonald's, they're in the retail industry. They have a product that they sell to consumers. So anything along the lines of selling is a retail transaction, and there's a science behind how you go about making sure you have, the value proposition, the product that people want at the right pricing at the right time with the right service level. All of that is retailing. And when we look at McDonald's, we see that most of their financial portfolio and the way they generate assets is actually owning those properties because they're in franchises.
Right.
So, anyways, I can get into that on another time. But
yeah, it's fascinating. It's fascinating.
Interests me.
Yeah.
So that's really how it got started. First, my interest in fashion. And then by taking fashion courses, I saw that I was more interested in the retailing components.
Right.
Because fashion is more about looking at trends and developing new products. But retailing is trying to figure out how a product that already exists or is coming to market, how to get that in the hands of the right people and generate sales, and also how to create assets from your products in other means such as real estate.
Wow. Yeah, I never would have considered real estate retail, but I mean, I guess you're right. It's all selling, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's interesting. I'll have to check out that movie. So you're clearly educated. You have a long history of building up your knowledge around these areas. How do you then transition from just a woman with lots going on in her brain to a woman with lots going on in her wallet? Like, how does this turn into a business?
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of people who ask me that because people ask me all the time, what is it that you even do? And you know what? For the longest time, I didn't really know. I would tell people I'm a market researcher because I used to do a lot of consulting. So really what pushed me into getting my experience was I was working at the School of Retailing at the University of Alberta, where I graduated and got my Bachelor's of Commerce degree.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually got hired there at the university to oversee the center doing consulting work. And we work with a lot of companies like Victoria's Secret, a lot of real estate companies, again, who own malls to figure out, okay, what new brand should be in, what stores that they have already existing should be out, traffic patterns, figuring out marketing campaigns, also where they should open up another outlet, right? Because outlets became a huge thing.
Yeah.
If you haven't noticed, by every single airport, there's now an outlet. But there's people like us, right, who are market researchers in the retail space who help determine what would be the best, not just property, right, but what would be the best marketing retail mix of services to be in those specific malls, because there's always something different depending on the kind of consumer groups living in that area or travel frequently through that area. Mm-hmm. So you'd be surprised, even airports, huge retail component. You go through an airport and you can see how many retail
Oh my God. I will spend $45 for a pair of gloves in the airport versus they're $15 gloves. I waste so much money in retail in the airport because you're bored and you want to shop. It's genius.
Exactly. Exactly. So you'd be so surprised. They hire people like me to help manage that or figure out what to do with those retail places. That's all a business. And again, that's real estate, because those retailers have to fight for those spots. They have to pay certain leases. A lot of businesses, even, they may have stores in certain areas. If we think about in Times Square, right, all those spots, they generate money, but that money kind of breaks even with how expensive it is to actually have that real estate there in Times Square.
Right.
But for those brands, it's about the branding. If you have a store in Times Square, then that keeps you top of mind because everybody goes there. And if you want everybody to know your brand, where else to position it than in Times Square?
Right. You're not going to see a mom and pop, grandma's cookies in Times Square. Yeah. I actually own an art studio, a painting with a twist, and my rent is always my biggest bill every month, and I'm constantly like, how can I get rid of this brick and mortar spot and just go virtual? Because that's a huge downside to having a physical store. But I see what you're saying about the location being prime. And let's talk about malls real quick because you mentioned malls.
Yeah, for sure.
Are they dying? What's going on? I miss
You know
malls. I
what?
spent my
Malls
high school in malls, my high school years.
Oh yeah, same, same. The amount of time we would kill in malls, wow.
Yeah, all
Now
day.
kids these days are killing it on social media, so
Yeah. Go
right, just like
back and go in the back of Spencer Gifts, hang out all day.
yeah. So are malls dying? That is the big question. And you know what? I I am a strong believer in things go through cycles.
Right.
Right? Everything is trend based, right? We're going through a cycle. E-commerce came, we're trying to normalize, figure things out still, right? Still, e-commerce is still relatively new. The dot-com era is still relatively new.
Right.
Most of us haven't grown up, except for, millennials, with technology from, high school on, right? So now this is something that the younger generation is growing up with. So yeah, it is changing demographics. The generation under us, Gen Z, they're now the biggest generation. So retailers and malls are changing their models to focus on what Gen Z wants because they're now the biggest demographic and they're starting to have the biggest spending power.
Right.
Right? So I'm all for. I don't think malls are dying. They're just
Good.
changing. They're re-evolving, and I think malls are going to be so much more cooler than even it was for us. Because what did we have? The food court, right? And window shopping. But I feel like malls now are going to have to do something really cool, really innovative. I know they're focusing more on food, entertainment, trying to get people into the malls.
Right.
But I think there's huge opportunity as long as they can bridge that gap on social media and e-commerce and also bring that experience in store. I think it would be a hit.
Well, good. I hope so because I love a good mall. Let's talk about Retail Boss. So you help educate people who are interested in entering this space in all of the many different channels and facets of the retail space. So do you offer, is it like ebooks? Is it seminars? What is your training modules, or I don't know if they're modules, what does it look like to work with you?
Yeah. So what is so funny is I used to do everything pretty much just on my own, doing consulting and one-to-one coaching. And I used to get so many emails. I'm telling you, so many emails of people asking me the same questions over and over. And I'm like, oh my goodness, everybody has the same questions. And I just answered this yesterday to somebody else. So if you were to go to retailboss.co, we now have a whole bunch of resources that's there. They're free. They're articles. So we have them sectioned out for retail marketing, branding, funding, anything that you're looking for, as well as we have an online directory of wholesales, manufacturers, pattern makers, packaging companies that all work with small businesses. So we are really focused on entrepreneurs, small businesses, and we have all those resources are available right now. So you can go to retailboss.co and you can get in on it. But yeah, I do also provide one-on-one coaching, but I would prefer people go through educating, finding some partners, seeing what works, because most people are just in the stage figuring out where they should fit in the entire distribution model. They don't really know where to fit.
Right.
And it also comes down to your interest. Just like I said before, I was first interested in fashion design. And then I realized, you know what, I'm not that interested in keeping up with, what's the latest trends coming and trying to create something for that. I'm more interested in things that are already existing and how to get them in the hands of the right people. So the more you educate, the better I think you'll be in creating a business that you'll actually like. And I have people on there who are ready to partner with you so you can really get going. And then contact me if you're having troubles along the way.
So is it sort of a community as well? Like you're
Yeah.
a connector? You connect the right people with the right people?
Absolutely. So we also have our own Mighty Network. We have over 1,700 people inside of our actual Mighty Network, which is an app you have on your phone, and you can talk to everybody, connect, DM with other entrepreneurs just like you. And then again, on our website, you can create your own profile. It's a public profile, and that helps connect you with businesses and partners and agencies who want to help your business succeed. So the website is more for connecting you, just like you said, with B2B businesses. So that could be graphic designers, photographers, models, anything along that sort pattern makers to create your first patterns,
Oh,
and
wow.
then connect you with a manufacturer who can actually produce it overseas. We also have other people. I'm not the only expert on there. I have several people who are experts. So if you want to have your own sustainable brand, I have all these different ladies who are there to help you specifically, because again, it's such a broad industry that you need to pick the right people who will fit that model. I might not always be that right person, but I will connect you with the right one.
Awesome. Very cool. Now, how long has this retail.co been around, Retail Boss?
Yeah, Retail Boss has been around since 2011. So, like I
Wow.
said, it really started with just me putting out content. Since I was in university, I had been doing speaking, like expert commentary for a lot of our news publications here or radio here. They would contact me, and I would give my, opinion, right? Really, because I was an expert back then, but I
Right.
gave my opinion. I was always blogging about what was happening in retail, and around this time was before we had Shopify, before we had Wix. So when I was studying retail and getting into it, this was before e-commerce was a huge thing, but this was when it was becoming a thing. So I remember getting my first domain, and I was so excited. Like, having your own domain wasn't a thing
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah, for
But now
sure.
everybody has a domain.
Yeah. No, that you're big time once you got a domain and your own like custom email address. You're legit.
Yes,
For
exactly.
sure. So let's talk about how you gain clients. Because, like I said, I found you on your on Instagram, and I'm gonna take a look at your Instagram right now.
Yeah, sure.
Is social media a big part of your business plan?
No.
No.
I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to make it more part of my business plan. Now that we have like such a huge community, because it's so funny. Our people ask me all the time, how do you grow your Instagram? And I know that's a huge topic on Instagram, is how to grow your Instagram. I
Right.
feel like every time I'm on there, it's here's some tricks to grow your Instagram. But I don't believe Instagram grew our community. It's the people within our community who grew our page.
Right.
So referrals, people just everything that we have is organic. I don't pay any ads on Instagram or Facebook. Everything is organic, and it's everybody in our community and industry who are referring us. So
That's
that's how I
great.
would say we have grown. Yeah, that's how we've grown. Also, the articles, I put out original content. And for anybody who's trying to grow their if they're trying to grow a community or they have expertise, if you're an expert, then you should be commenting. You should say something. You should be putting information out there. And then what you give, you get back. So that's
Right.
what's been working for me. For mainly getting clients, I would say LinkedIn has helped me the most, and
Right.
Twitter. You know what? I don't really have too much activity on my Twitter or my LinkedIn, but my majority of my bigger contracts come from those two sources. Usually it's just people who have found maybe an article or have gone to my website, seen something, or been referred by somebody else. And they really are just looking at the LinkedIn or Twitter just to verify if they're going to go with me or not.
Right.
And that's about that. So I would say Instagram hasn't really been a source for me personally getting work. But for the community, people love to share the content there.
Well, that's awesome. And you touched on a couple of things. I mean, some of the mottos that we live and die by at Hipcast Society, we're all about generosity. You give in order to receive. Marketing with love is our tagline. And you really hit on some of those pillars there. I mean, when you said you have this content, you give it out, and the world, the universe provided and gave it back to you. So you do a lot of your content, you said, is available for free.
Yes, yes. So we have so many news articles, and even just today, we got approved for Google News. So now people can follow us on Google News, and we're going to be promoting a lot of small businesses. So we're super excited for that.
Wow, that's very cool. Very cool. Yay for small businesses.
Yeah.
Now I would be amiss if I didn't touch on the title of the show, which is "Do the Damn Thing." And like I said earlier, our goal is, to help inspire people. We come in contact on a daily basis with entrepreneurs or want to be entrepreneurs. And they've got a great idea, or they have a service, or they have a product, and they want to start a retail line. They don't know what they want to do, but they want to do something, but something's blocking them. So what
Mhm.
advice would you have for those just starting out, whether that they wanted to be in the retail industry or maybe in the education industry, just like you?
Yeah, so I would totally recommend anybody who wants to become an entrepreneur, just understand like it's not going to be any easier than having a job. You're still going to have all the frustrations as having a job. And I think that's a big misconception because people think, okay, well, I'll be able to, run it on my own time and do this and do that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many other even major headaches of running your own business that is like way hot water than your boss not liking you for the day. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to have a really, you have to have a backbone and you have to be able to, roll with the punches if there's something you want to do. Because I have talked to some entrepreneurs and they want to get into it because they think they'll be able to run it
Mm-hmm.
better and run things better, but it's going to be a lot more stressful. Having a job is less stressful than having your own business. So if you're trying to minimize stress, don't leave your business. That's the solution. So that's number one. So don't become an
Don't
entrepreneur
quit your
to
day
get
job if you're
out
looking for
more
a stress-free
stress.
life.
It's way more stressful. Number two, I would say is yes, you may have a passion business or a hobby business, but we all have to be realistic on how much hours or resources do we have to dedicate into this. And a hobby business isn't going to sustain you enough to actually be able to leave your job again. So I always encourage people to keep your job,
Mm-hmm.
to build a business on the side, figure out which business can generate money today, because many people have a lot of different ideas. But it's better to focus on, okay, what it can generate money today with the time and resources that you have. Right? Maybe you have a lot of money, but you don't have a lot of time. So if you have all these ideas, pick the one that fits that right now. Okay, this I just need to invest and I don't have to put much time into it. It's going to just generate me X amount. Then yes, you need to run that business while keeping your job. While that business kind of, starts generating money, then maybe you can now leave that job or put down the hours in that job, right? And then bring on the next idea that you had, because now you have the resource time that might be what's missing for the next thing. Because to be an educator, there's a lot of time. It's more
Right.
time than money. You don't need money to put out content, right? But you
Right.
need a lot of time. So to be an educator, it's not easy to do if you have a full-time job. But if you have something else still in that realm, focus on that. It could be something like doing an ebook, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just
Provide value.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe just start with an ebook. Maybe videos would be too much for you to take on right now.
Right, right, absolutely. In fact, it's funny you say that because we actually have a question from Melissa out there. She says, "You must be so busy. How do you make time for yourself to unwind? And what do you do? I mean, you've clearly got all the plates spinning."
Yeah, it would seem like that, right? So I actually have two other businesses as well, and I do a lot of investing. So, girl, I'm telling you that this isn't even like the half of it. But I like my time. You know what? I really love all the businesses that I have. So it's just me. My businesses are just an extension of me, and I'm a type of person who I'm always there talking and trying to help people out. So it's I feel like even though it might seem like I'm doing a lot, it's still making me more productive. So with anything that you're doing, you should just see things as, is this still making my life more productive? And if it is, then great, because before I would be emailing a lot,
Hmm.
and now I have swapped the emailing all the time from writing like really good content articles or interviewing people who can help a topic. And that part is more fulfilling. So in life, you're not going to get more time. There's only so much time in a day, but you can change how you spend that time and make sure it's more enjoyable. So that's what I always tell people who work with me. I say, let's not try to figure out how you can work 2 hours a day instead of 8 hours a day. How can we figure out a model where you're spending 8 hours a day enjoying it,
Right,
right?
right.
So let's change some things up, because if you're running your own business, you need those hours. And I still have so much time for all my friends. I see all my friends every week. I travel all the time if you follow me on Instagram.
Yeah.
So it works.
Wow, you are amazing, and I wish you the best of success. We are just about out of time, but before we go, I wanted to give you an opportunity and the listeners an opportunity to find out how they can reach you, where they can go to contact you. We'll put all of this information down below, whether that's on YouTube or Instagram TV or all of the places it's going to live. But for those of you watching live, how do they find you, Janelle?
Just go to retailboss.co.
That's
You can
it.
find me directly on LinkedIn and DM me, but if you're just looking for resources and to get started, just go to retailboss.co. I have it all there for you.
Yeah, I mean, I DM'd you and that worked out.
But I always respond to everybody. I really do. I'm not that kind of person who pretends to care about people. I actually care about everybody, so I will get back to everybody.
Awesome. Genuine connections. I think what you're doing is amazing, and I appreciate you coming on the show. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much. Bye,
Bye-bye.
Laura. Thank you.